Joining us now, a chagrined Jets fan. Jets taking on the chin yesterday. Miami 2-0. Sam Nunberg, great to have you with us. Lots to talk about today. Thanks for being on.
I'm actually not that upset, John, about the Jets. I still think we're a couple years away, so I don't mind getting another good draft pick while seeing if our QB, Donald, this new guy, how he can play in the NFL in his rookie year. But I am worried about the Yankees, and I do think at first when you were bothering me on my phone about the Yankees possibly going to Oakland, I said, nah, that's not going to happen. But losing 3 out of 4 to Toronto, we'll see what happens. Maybe the season will be cut short. You know, they're already saying, John, I don't know if you followed in New York, they're calling Giancarlo Stanton the new A-Rod. You know, that as a compliment.
Well, the Yankees got some issues. I mean, you got to get Aaron Judge back. We're with Sam Nunberg. He was a longtime advisor to Donald Trump. He was also with the Trump for President campaign, and currently he's a senior advisor to Steve Bannon's International Political Action Committee now, the Citizens of the American Republic, and he's a senior advisor there for Bannon's organization. Sam, here's the problem you've got with the Yankees until your big hitter comes back, is the schedule doesn't favor them. They got a 1.5 lead over Oakland. The problem is Oakland doesn't play anybody. They play like the Angels like 18 times or something. And the Yankees have to play the Red Sox 6 games. So even if they split there, I mean, Oakland has a favorable schedule to the Yankees.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
That's why I think
it is what it is. They weren't supposed to make the playoffs last year. Now that they're supposed to make the playoffs, maybe they'll blow it.
Buy your ticket to Oakland.
It is what it is.
This buyer ticket.
For all I knew, more importantly, I mean, we had a Supreme Court justice. This looked like a layup going through a confirmation. I thought the Democrats, their jujitsu, what they did in the beginning. Remember when Grassley tried to start these hearings? From the entire time it's been going, it's been obstruction, and now we're getting to the ultimate. I believe this will end up backfiring on the Democrats. With this ridiculous accusation.
How?
Something that happens in high school. But you have a Jeff Flake, as you were mentioning. You called him Howdy Doody. What I just think is he's an anti-Trumper, and he's worried he couldn't run. Once again, this is a guy who could not run for re-election because he would have lost his primary, and now he's trying to figure out how he can get a TV contract. So he's trying to delay this. What's going to end up happening, I think, is that they're going to have this woman come and testify, and that'll be it. And she'll say what she has to say, and then you'll have Democrats crying and making a humongous show out of this, and Republicans questioning her veracity. So I think the issue overall, John, is that Kavanaugh is going to get onto the bench. He is going to get his up or down vote. But the issue is, what will this do in terms of widening that gap of women that we're losing now and heading into the midterm?
So you said it might backfire on the Democrats, Sam. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, I think it could backfire in terms of the strong Trump base that we have to get out to vote. Is around, let's say, 27% of the electorate.
Right.
When his approval is higher, and he is not tweeting about hurricanes, and he's tweeting about the economy and his accomplishments, I think that base goes up to around 30% of the electorate. Plus, you have another 10%, let's say, of either Republicans or conservative-leaning independents. But with something along these lines, we are losing women badly right now in this midterm. That's one of the major problems for Republicans. We're losing women by an amount that we've never lost them before, including women that we typically would win, which are white women without college degrees. Those right now, I think nationally, could be at around negative 3 to 5%. But something along these lines with the overall with the Me Too movement, you're going to imagine if they hold another hearing, somebody like Kamala Harris or Spartacus will do, and they're going to make this an absolute They're going to make this an absolute disgrace, and they're going to play to their own. The Democrats are going to play to their own interest group.
Their own base.
Fine, that's politics.
Right.
But overall, it certainly dampens and hurts the enthusiasm. I think that we were banking on as Republicans for getting a clean win to the Supreme Court. We were told, look, nobody can argue, John, you're not going to argue that Kavanaugh is not 100% overly qualified for the Supreme Court, if you can be overly qualified.
Right.
Remember, this is a man who, as a D.C. appellate judge, he's written something like, I think, over 10 opinions that have been cited for the majorities in the Supreme Court.
Right.
Meaning that Supreme Court justices have used his judicial wisdom at the highest court of the land right under him to hold up as rationale for these rulings. So Democrats knew that they were going to do anything they can do to do this. Now, overall, this woman, I have no idea who she is. But just like you said, we have a witness who says that this never happened. We have another witness who we have multiple his high school friends saying this isn't the conduct that he had. But, and I'm going to sound politically incorrect or be attacked for saying this, the real question is, if this high school thing, if something like this happened in high school, which is what is alleged, John, I'd say, so what? So what? And where was this woman, by the way? This is what really upsets me. Sorry, let me. Where was this woman when he was working in the White House, when he was sent to the bench? It's pretty convenient that she comes out now. Oh, by the way, she's married and has 3 kids. So this isn't as if this is something that has ruined her life.
Well, look, I'm not going to comment on her personal status, but the former thing you said I think is very accurate. I mean, she had an opportunity to come out years ago when he had different positions and when he was first vetted to go to the federal bench, and there was nothing. I think everybody looks at this, and it's alleged there's no witnesses, and the one witness is, well, there is a witness, and that witness has denied it. And so it becomes very suspect. And I'm not saying it didn't happen or didn't. I wasn't there. I have no idea, neither do you. But I think it's very legitimate, Sam, to question the timing of this, 5 days before he's going to get out of the Senate Judiciary Committee and be confirmed. This comes out 5 days before. Now, the Democrats have tried every other which way to stop or stall this nomination. They've not been able to do it, and this is kind of the final thing they bring out. And I kind of agree with one thing you said. I really think this does have the potential to backfire for the Democrats, because if average working people see through this, it is going to inspire Republican turnout. On the other hand, if Republicans buckle and cave, it could have the opposite effect. Trump supporters could say, I'm not voting for these Republicans, to stay home. So you really don't know how this is going to play out. It's kind of dangerous.
Well, you said it much better than me there. That's exactly right. The Republicans, if they, especially in the Senate, which I think can have a game, they, one of the reasons is because in the House, focus groups and research show that many Trump supporters say, why do I want to support these House Republicans when they don't support the president's agenda? However, in the Senate, these same people have been saying, these same focus groups or research, they're fully cognizant of the fact of what McConnell and the Republican conference have been able to accomplish with judges. And to do something like this, I suspect that, as you just said in your lead-up, they have a letter of 60-something plus women, was it?
65.
Saying that Kavanaugh would not have done something like this, or his conduct was fine. He has had numerous women work under him. This is something where it's just simply outrageous, and it's pathetic, frankly. I would say now they're not going to take this as a compliment, but I say to the Democrats, I do compliment the theatrics, because they're trying to pull anything and everything that they can. But ultimately, he'll get confirmed. But it's been a very nasty process that it didn't have to be.
Right.
And they've really stained it. And what I really hope, though, is that this is something that the Republicans start to remember this. In other words, if there isn't, the next time there's a Supreme Court vacancy with a Democrat president, I don't think any Democrat Supreme Court judge should be getting 25, 30 Republican votes in the Senate anymore. We need to play like they do, which is what Donald Trump does, and that's one of the reasons Donald Trump won the nomination.
Exactly.
He was going to be an aggressive candidate, and it's time that if we apply their same rules and their agenda to them, not their agenda, excuse me, we apply their same rules, their semantics, and their modus operandi to them. They want to play like this, let's play like this. So, once again, I actually compliment the fact that they're doing something that's disgusting, but I don't know if they should take it as a compliment from someone like me. I think it's pretty outrageous. Now, remember, this is the same Dianne Feinstein who had this letter and wanted to keep the woman's anonymity. This is the same woman. First of all, she releases the letter, doesn't talk about this issue at all when she's questioning Kavanaugh. But this is the same woman who released all the identities of the CIA interrogators. This is the same woman who has had a Chinese spy working for her for 20 years. So I don't necessarily also take the fact of her involvement as giving something like this the seriousness that it would normally deserve. Once again, it's a high school incident. Brett Kavanaugh was in his 40s. We're talking about something that allegedly happened 30-plus years ago. He says it didn't happen. The witness says it did not happen. She has a very vivid recollection of something. I don't have a vivid recollection of things that happened 5 years ago. So it is what it is. But but the most important point is, as you said earlier, is that the Republicans need to show a spine and get Kavanaugh through the Judiciary Committee this week.
Sam, one thing you said is very interesting. I want to kind of feed off this for a second. It's very insightful. You said that Feinstein had this letter for a month, and during the confirmation hearings, she never asked about it. And this is someone who has a reputation of certainly putting everything out there. As you mentioned, the CIA people that she simply made public. So one might think that, Feinstein got the letter and really didn't believe this person. That's why she didn't ask the questions. I would think that if the letter went to Camelia Harris, she would have been asking the questions. But the fact that, Feinstein had a chance to bring it up and did not, don't you think that's odd?
They've been trying, and not only that, these are people that, if you looked at their line of questioning, even Feinstein, I reviewed it last night, she basically, in her questioning, she asked about case law on the Second Amendment, which is fine. She's a gun fanatic. She's an anti-gun fanatic. She doesn't believe people should be able to possess any firearms to protect themselves. She doesn't support the Second Amendment, although obviously, obviously her security people carry guns, including the Chinese spy, and including, ironically, the Chinese spy who was her driver for 20 years. But they were throwing anything and everything they had at this man. And the idea that they didn't bring this up until now, it also shows desperation and it's dirty politics. Overall, women, the Democrats are using this to their benefit. Women are extremely, and rightfully so, in a lot of cases, John, women are overall extremely, they've had enough. It's the Me Too movement. Now, to the standards, not everybody is a Harvey Weinstein. I think some people, they have to be careful about that. But this is something that energizes women. And it is the new, this accusation is even worse going forward politically than an accusation of racism. This is it. It's sexism. That's going to be what you're going to see going forward in the next 3 years, especially with Donald Trump as president. It's no surprise that Elizabeth Warren, you know what she says at all her rallies now?
What?
Tick-tock, tick-tock to Donald Trump. She says, Donald Trump, tick-tock, tick-tock, like time's up. Clock's ticking. And they really weaponized this. But something like this will backfire because they have one of two ways that they can do this, the Democrats. Or Grassley can do this too. They can call this woman up to testify, and she can give her testimony. She can cry. She can make a show of it. And then you can simply say to her, why did you not make this complaint? Assuming it's true, why did you not make this complaint until now when he's going to become a Supreme Court nominee?
I think that's the biggest. That's the biggest
why
question.
Did this never happen during his security clearance?
Yeah.
Even when he was working in the Bush White House.
Right. That's going to be the key issue. It's hard to comment on it because, look, we don't know what happened, and certainly if this did and she was traumatized, that's not a good thing. But the timing seems very suspect to laymen, right? That all of this time would have gone on and there was no allegation of it until the final hour, 5 days before the Judiciary Committee is set to put his name on the floor into nomination. So that to me is the biggest issue. And there's no witnesses. So it's almost like you can accuse anybody of anything at any time and you throw it out there at the end. Just throw it out. No witnesses, and that's it. And then you're done. I mean, That has got to be troubling to every American. Like, I don't care what it is. You just throw it out there. Something that happened, 40 years ago in high school. And, I mean, I don't know what I did 40 years ago in high school. I played baseball. Other than that, I don't know what I did. Who knows? It's crazy. Crazy. And you can be accused of anything now.
Yeah, it's absolutely. Once again, I think that what I hope is that we have enough Republicans who are going to put appropriate pressure on Jeff Flake and explain to him that you may be retiring, but there are ways that you'll never make a cent.
Well, we'll find
in your
out.
Private sector, which is what you seem so concerned about. You will never make a cent if you do not vote for Kavanaugh. This is outrageous. It's absolutely outrageous.
Outrageous.
I mean, this is something that, and then the other, I think, long-term lesson is we need to learn to play their game.
Right, Sam.
And that's it. And I think that's it going forward. That's what has to be done. But
right.
It's really a lot of moxie for them to do something like this. I got to tell you, it's pretty outrageous. I mean, when I see this guy talk, this is not the type of guy I would want to spend 10 minutes with socially, right? Mm-hmm. I wouldn't want to be going to a game with him. I mean, I heard he was a baseball fan. I was like, can you imagine going to a baseball game with this guy? Mm-hmm. Doesn't look like a very exciting guy, right? Mm-hmm. So this is just outrageous too. The way they stain our people, and they get away with everything.
That's the thing, Sam.
The time's got to be up on them.
They get away with it. They get away with it. This is going to be very interesting to see how this plays out and what Jeff Flake does. I'm out of time. I want to thank Sam Nunberg for being with us. Sam, always a pleasure to have you on. Appreciate your keen insight here. Very good, Sam Nunberg.